Alrighty folks, Mythical Family back here with another unboxing. This one's kind of a fun one. I've been waiting for this to arrive. We ordered a couple of gifts online for some friends, so we're actually going to wait to post this because they obviously don't have these yet. This one's from Otherworld Miniatures over in the UK. This one was actually really fun, and I've been waiting for this one to get here. This is a resin model diorama, and our buddy saw this online. We found this as a group, and he went nuts for this one. He's an older gamer like I am. What do you got here? Is this just a packing slip? Yeah, this is a packing slip. This is, yeah, I sent them a note saying I had sort of discovered the site late and was making an order, and I was hoping that it would get here in time for Christmas. And these folks were really good to work with, really good communication, and really attentive. They did hustle so that this thing would get here in time for Christmas, and I really appreciate that. They were a really positive company to work with as far as customer service. This is the first time I've ordered from them, but they are doing some very neat things with some sort of retro and old school D&D gaming stuff. Right. Awesome. Oh, packing peanuts. Who still uses these? Oh. Okay, we'll get those out of there. This is the main part of the model here. This is what I wanted to see. Let's clear these out. Yeah, there's more stuff down in there. Let's get that stuff out of the way. What else have we got? Let's clear the box out and move it from the shot. That. Looks like that's it. They actually packaged this really well. I'm actually really satisfied with their packaging. Sometimes companies really kind of throw caution to the wind with their packaging, and oh, those are metal. Okay, all right, so this, all right, it's a two-part model, so some assembly required, but that is all right. That's part of the modeling experience. This guy, old school gamers will recognize as the idol from the old Player's Handbook for Dungeons and Dragons. This is an idol that's a piece of artwork for the cover, and it sits in a dungeon with a couple of adventurers trying to take, his eyes are giant rubies in the picture. And there are a couple of adventurers there trying to get the rubies. And this idol just sits there with an altar in front of it. Come on now. With an altar in front of it. That's not glued down, so it's not going to stay. It needs to be cleaned up a little bit and glued in place, but that's okay. That, like I said, is part of the modeling hobby. I was just hoping I could position him to stay, but he's going to be persnickety. We'll just leave him like that for now. Okay, and there are, what do we have here? Oh, look at that. Okay, so in the original artwork, the eyes of the idol are ruby, but it looks like these guys have included sequins of several colors, so you can actually choose and sort of customize the color of the gems that are in the eyes. That's actually a cool thought. And these are metal, which I actually was not expecting, although I bet if I went back and read more carefully, they were clear about that. This is actually very cool. I'm not the biggest fan of metal, white metal or pewter figurines. To me, the detail tends to wash out a lot more. They're doing a lot of really good things with plastics and resins these days. Although, that said, there's actually a lot of detail on these guys. This guy is actually positioned over the top of the model here, and he's got a crowbar, and he's supposed to be trying to pry the gems out while his buddy is keeping lookout. If I think about it, we'll include an image of what this is somewhere in this video. And here's his buddy on lookout. Looks like he's a two-piece model too. Yeah, his arm's in there, okay. And you know what? For a pewter or white metal model, I'm actually really impressed with the detail. He's got a little short sword or dagger there. You can see his belt pouch and what looks like a pick, beard and face detail. These things have come a long way from when I had metal models. I may have to give them a little more leeway. What have we got here? All right, so there's a little dagger, and that sits on the altar here. Here's a second sconce. Oh, and these are flames for the sconce, because the sconces are lit. Okay, that's cool. That'll make it easier to paint since they're separate pieces too. Oh, this is the little idol, another little idol that's supposed to mimic the one behind it, and that also sits on the altar. And there is the arm for the other guy, and he has a sword or rapier or something I put in that hand, I think. He stands in front and looks around like he's on lookout, and his buddy is up here working on that gem in the eyes. Now, this part, the detail on this plastic idol, this is the centerpiece of the model, and you can actually buy this part separately. I got the whole diorama for my buddy. I'm actually really impressed with the detail here. It does need a little bit of cleanup. I'm not sure exactly what it's cast from, but it is a very hard, very resilient plastic. Needs a little cleanup. That is not uncommon. That's a normal thing to expect. However, the detail I'm really impressed with. These guys at Otherworld Miniatures are doing some really neat stuff. If you're an older gamer like me, or you're maybe newer to the hobby but sort of like to know or experience the retro stuff, they're doing a lot of really neat stuff with older models or figures from older artwork. So you can check that out as well. We'll be sure to include their URL. And again, these guys were really, really good to work with. Their customer service was very responsive. They hurried to get me the order and get it overseas to me. Let's see if I can. I ordered it on the 7th, so it actually took about 12 days to get here, maybe 15. It got here really quick. It did. And especially for overseas. So they did their best, I think, to turn it around as quick as they could and get it to me because I let them know it was a Christmas gift. And again, them being attentive to that, it's not their fault that I made a late order because I had just found their website. But they were very, very good company to work with as far as their responsiveness and willing to work with me and hurry for me, and that's great. Their packaging was, well, I won't go into the packing peanuts, that's a personal thing. However, the packaging was done very well. They definitely packaged this to make sure that it could take any of the manhandling that it might get on the way here. Everything was bagged neatly and separately. The main model was bubble wrapped individually. So their packaging, they pay a lot of attention to as well, which is really good. Sometimes when you get these models, you think some of these companies kind of throw caution to the wind and just ship it and try to save on buying some bubble wrap or a box the right size. These guys did really well. with how they did this. And my buddy is going to love this thing. He's going to have to put it together. I don't think I'm going to do that for him. I think I'm going to let him do that. I am tempted, however, since the eyes are optional, I'm tempted to put a couple of googly eyes on there and let him unwrap it that way. Let him see it that way first. I probably won't. Maybe. But I want to. We'll see. Anyway, Otherworld models. Otherworld miniatures. Let me see if I can get this in here. We'll include their URL. That's their mailing address. That's probably not going to do you a lot of good. But these guys were a really great company. They're doing some fun stuff with some very old designs, including some of they're making models for a lot of the monsters from the Monster Manual with old school art. So the way they have looked over the years, which is kind of neat if you just like maybe the retro aspect of it, or if you're an older gamer like I am and you were there and used those books, or if you just want to do something fun with some newer gamers and put some models on the table where they may not know what it is because it doesn't look like what they're used to. It looks like the older model. So they know what the monster is, but they may not know it right away as soon as you put it down because the look has changed over the years. This, however, is a very, very neat model, and this is going to be a lot of fun for my buddy to put together. He's going to be real excited when he gets it. So we can't post this one right away because we haven't given it to him yet, but we'll get this up after we get the gift to him and he's had his fun and excitement so we don't ruin anything. All right, thanks guys. I hope you have enjoyed and have had a fun time looking at these models and the unboxing. But this company has been really good and they're putting out I'm really impressed with the quality and the detail of this model. I'm not sure how well it's going to translate to video, but the detail is really, really good on this model. All right, have a good day, guys.